Well, good morning, everybody. Let's try that again. Good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio on December 16th. It's a Friday, 2022. Two Fridays before Christmas. Christmas is Sunday this year, and as many of you know, and I think we're going to talk to Evan in Arizona today, just so he knows this. Here in Maine, it's snowing pretty good. We're supposed to get 6 to 10 inches here in southwestern Maine in the foothills of the White Mountains, which is really beautiful. Okay, so we like it anyway, and maybe we're fools. Don't ask me again when in February. I'll change my mind by then. Anyway, today we've got a wonderful show. We're going to talk about something called Nano Learning. That's N-A-N-O, Nano Learning, and how it applies to professional learning for educators. And once we get that said, how it might be used in the classroom as well to help certain students actually learn a little bit better. It's really interesting. Again, it's a Nano Learning. And Evan Brus and Brittany Peterson, two of my friends from Boxlight at Boxlight.com, that terrific company, they have something called EOS Education, and that's what this Nano Learning is a part of. So it's all good stuff, and I have it linked over here on the website as you're listening if you want to learn more when we're done. We're going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org. That's exactly what we do every day. ace-ed.org is our home website for American Consortium for Equity in Education. We do a lot over there. We have seltoday.org. It's all linked over there. Teacher-retention.com. We're proudest of our magazine, which is called Equity and Access, and just click on the cover. You'll see the cover there and enjoy it. Okay, when you read it, it's an excellent issue, I got to tell you. Then, of course, all the podcasts are there as well. Everything's linked. You'll see it all. Go over, check it out. Everything we do is free for educators. So please sign up with us. Join our Consortium for Equity. It gives you a subscription to the magazine. We'll get the link to your inbox each time we publish. And please join in with us because we are really concerned about all the things we're concerned about. There's a lot to be concerned about these days in education, but there is help on the way. And on that note, let me bring on my two guests. Okay, and I got to ask Evan here. We'll usually start ladies first. Hold on, Britt. Evan, are you in Arizona?
You're very close. I
Where
have all my coworkers in Arizona, but I moved last year to Colorado. So we don't have 6 to 10 inches here, but the ground is white. The weather was actually one of the main reasons I decided to move because, Arizona winters are really very nice, but Arizona summers
are like our winters, are like Maine winters.
Exactly.
Everybody
you stay
wants
inside
to get the hell out.
possible.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's true. Where are you in Colorado?
I am in the Denver metro, so kind of the southeast corner there. I can see some mountains, but it's still a bit of a hike to get to them.
Seeing those mountains is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay, in Denver.
Absolutely.
Brittany, it is. And welcome to the show, Evan. Okay, Brittany, how are you? It's Larry here. How you doing?
Hey, Larry. Good morning. Good morning. I do not have any snow on the ground. I'm actually in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia here, so no snow on the ground, and it's clear as day. And I don't think I've ever got to experience any snow because I come from California. I'm from Southern California originally. So.
There you go. And of course, the funniest thing, if you had the snow we're having today in Georgia, they'd be running for their lives. Okay, well, you had a quarter inch of snow, you're ready to go berserk. Okay, so we got 10 inches coming today, which is a flurry here in Maine. Okay, just kidding. It's a good size storm. It's great. Okay, and Britt, welcome to the show. Evan, welcome. And by the way, everybody, we were supposed to do the show a couple of days ago. We had a tech glitch, and you guys are wonderful to allow me to do it today with you because I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So thanks, guys, for helping me get this together in such a short period of time after the incredible, as usual, tech glitch. Okay, I hate those things. All right. So
we know how it goes. We appreciate it.
Believe me, but it still aggravates me when it happens. Okay, I don't know who to start with. Okay, so ladies first, and you want to pass this one over to Evan, you can. You guys both work for EOS Education. What's that EOS stand for, Brittany? EOS.
It's actually EOS Education. So it's just to let you know, it's not an acronym. So it's just got you. It's just EOS Education. Yeah, I work here in Atlanta with a certain school district, being their team lead for the digital learning specialist.
Excellent. That's great. So now tell me, ES Education, okay, that's part of Boxlight. Stay with me, Britt. That's part of Boxlight, right?
Yes, it's the professional development division of Boxlight.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to get. Okay. EOS, that's EOS, not an acronym. I thought it was EOS Education. Boxlight. EOS. What did I say? I did it again, didn't I?
It's okay.
Sorry
heard
about
it all
that.
different
I'm
ways,
sorry.
Larry.
Keep correcting me. Keep correcting me. Okay, please. Okay, EOS Education. Melissa sent it to him. Sent me the sheet. I have to tell you, she capitalized it all. That's why I'm doing that. Okay, that's why I'm doing it. Is it all capitals? When you guys do it, is it all capitals? No, I got to ask.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. It's totally
there you go, guys.
understandable.
But it's EOS. Okay, EOS Education, part of Boxlight, Boxlight.com. Okay, check that all out. And I got everything here linked. Okay, just so you know. All right, now I'll swing over to Evan. Evan, Nano Learning, which to me is fairly fascinating. It's NANO. Okay, and I think this is pretty cool. All right, tell me, define Nano Learning.
So Nano Learning would be either a short video or a small snippet of text. The key here is that the learning has to take place in a very short. So we're talking like 2, maybe maximum 10 minutes, but that's kind of pushing it. This is really it's kind of born of the internet age, right? That people are browsing through videos, hopping around from place to place, and this is a way to grab them while they're there for a few minutes here and there. I think it's most often referenced along with something like YouTube or TikTok, although some TikToks are even a little too short for that, but that is the general idea there.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this. A lot of people, I was trying to put this into perspective as I was planning for this show. People always say, and I want you to talk about this, both of you, that, one-off professional development, and I agree with this, one-off professional development usually doesn't work, okay? Everything takes time to absorb, okay? And you have to get used to it. There's a trend in there how to do it, all right? But we are in, like you just said, Evan, an internet age. And because of the age we live in, attention spans are shorter. They really are. And also, there are always time pressures, particularly in our case, we're Education Talk Radio, on educators. The time pressures are enormous, okay? So when I read about Nano Learning, I just thought this is a good idea for the day and age we live in. And I'm curious, I'll stay with Evan. Evan, how did this develop? And I know you taught. That's why I started off talking about Arizona. You taught and developed courses at Arizona State. And just talk about all this. You're known for your innovative thoughts and how to teach. Evan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you hit the nail right on the head there.
Thanks, pal. Appreciate that.
This is really, it's something that just needs to be taken into account now that, as you said, attention spans have just gotten shorter and shorter. I feel that myself in my everyday life. It's just like bouncing around from one place to another here. And you're right about that repeated exposure to learning concepts, right? As educators, we often work with teachers in the capacity of being adult learners for that day. And I don't think any of them would teach a class where they introduce a concept once and then move on and never talk about it again.
Yeah,
that's just not how people learn. It's impossible. And I don't really know why we would expect anything else of teachers or adults in that context. So, going back to my work at ASU, it's been a few years, but pre-COVID, ASU was one of the first places to start really seriously investigating online learning because, the online school at ASU was really taking off and the enrollments were going up. And I worked in the biology department and we actually implemented the very first online biology course and then into the very first online biology major. So if you think about all the things a pre-med student might do and how to translate those into just working online, well, one of the things we discovered right off the bat that you really do not want to do is have a lecture. We've all probably sat through college lectures that are
Yes,
rambling and boring and take a while to get to the point, and they just read paragraphs upon paragraphs. That is exactly what you don't want to do, especially in an online context. So when we are reaching remote learners, you really have to condense things down, and you have to have short, usually a little hook in there, some humor to get people interested or involved, and then intersperse that with short activities, assessments along the way, break it up. And that really has much better results in the long run than expecting someone to sit through a 50-minute video.
I believe that. I believe that because, as I said, we're becoming a different species in terms of our attention span. Okay, and we need frequency. That's what it's called in advertising. We need frequency. All right, you have to. It has, but you need it in shorter bursts because, as I say, time pressure and everything else is just. This is really interesting. So thank you. That was good, Evan. So now, Brittany, how are you guys getting this in the schools? What's the game plan? Now, I know it's in schools and in school districts. Okay, but how does it work once it's in and how long has it been around? I have to ask that too. EOS Education over at Boxlight. Good. I got that right. By the way, Britt, I got that right. EOS Education.
Yes, you did.
Got that. I'm learning.
Yes, you did.
Because you told me in a short span. You told me quickly and in a short span. It worked. Okay?
Exactly. We're right on topic here.
You're doing great. Go ahead, Britt. So how's it all come together in a school? How do they find out about it? I hope everybody's listening and finding out about it. How do they get in touch with what actually happens? Britt.
I have a very unique experience since I do work directly with teachers one-on-one in the schools. What we usually do is we're meeting with teachers virtually. We're meeting with teachers in person, group sessions, one-on-one sessions with teachers. But a big draw for that is to show them something immediately that they can implement, and it's not too difficult.
Oh, wow.
I immediately show them. It's like bringing Christmas to a group PD, making sure it's short and sweet and brief, and look at this amazing thing I can do in 5 minutes. And then what I get to do is then follow up with the teachers. That's why I get that really great relationship with teachers, because then it's remember I came on the 5th and I showed you how to do that really small thing in Google. All right, well, let's continue on with that. Do you want to learn more about this? So it's really about that repeated contact right afterwards and building the relationships with teachers and them having the autonomy to want to learn more. So a lot of the times our teachers are extremely busy. Their collaborative planning schedules are jam-packed. And so when they get the choice to come and meet with me as a digital learning specialist, they are there because they want to be there and they want to learn, and that makes learning more enjoyable for both of us.
And so, Britt, how is Boxlight using this? Okay, Boxlight's a good company. People need to go over there, Boxlight.com. They got a lot of great stuff. Are you guys, and you're good friends of mine, are you guys using this? Okay, to give professional development about Boxlight products alone, or are you using it for a broader professional development idea that affects everything a teacher might do in a given day over the course of time?
Yes. Our offer to teachers in school districts is extremely rich, and it goes beyond the Boxlight products. So whatever's going on in that school district, maybe they adopted a new LMS. That's where EOS Education comes in and helps that transition for that LMS. Also with Google Workspace products as well. So we're not just a Boxlight professional development. We're all the way around.
That is good. That's a very important point. And again, Boxlight. Boxlight's one of the companies you buy something for them and they don't race out the door and leave it hanging. They're good professional development people with the products, but this goes even beyond that. Okay, it's really something. And I have to ask. I'll swing back to Evan. Evan, because you design courses down at ASU and you're doing this now. Okay, when you go to a school district, let's just say Denver Public Schools, since you're there, okay? Denver Public Schools signs up for EOS, all right? Now, do you talk to them about what they need, or do you just have a set series of courses that they will be using? How's it work? in that regard?
It's very customizable and based on their needs. This is definitely not a one-size-fits-all program. Brittany works over in Atlanta, and we have other folks working in the Phoenix area, and they are doing very, very different things on a day-to-day basis because they're different school districts and they have different needs.
Exactly.
One district might be using Google, one district might be using Microsoft products, and so we adapt and meet people where they are. If we were starting to work with somebody like Denver Public Schools, I've done some trainings here and there with them, and that's always step one, is to meet and talk about what they need. Hopefully get multiple stakeholders involved, admin obviously, but teachers who are actually using the product day to day. What are their questions? Because, they're not always aligned perfectly. People in the classroom have, questions and needs that don't arise when it comes to sort of the district-wide conversation. So we always try to address whatever people are really most focused on or most in need of. And I know Brittany does a really great job of that on the ground in Atlanta. And we try to do the same with our online resources. We don't have that sort of sustained overall relationship because many of these resources are just posted online. And so, unfortunately, I don't always have the best view of who's looking at them, but we do our best to provide a wide variety of products and different types of, approaches to getting at that, both through courses and videos and all that, that we make available to teachers.
I got the feeling, and I want to ask this specifically. Okay, I got the feeling this was all online, but what you just said, Evan, I think I'm wrong. Okay, some of it's online or can be all online. Brittany, you work when you work. Are you working non-remotely, actually, right there, physically with teachers?
I am
Talk
hybrid.
About that.
So being hybrid
that sounds
again.
like a bad science fiction novel. I am hybrid, the sequel.
I am
part
hybrid.
2. Yeah.
I'm a hybrid.
Yeah.
Well, for me, that looks pretty much, like we said, just meeting teachers where they are and trying to fit into their schedules and offering them both in person and remote options seems to be working really well for us. If it is something that's in person, I usually go to schools very often throughout the week, stop in to meet with teachers one-on-one, or if it is something that's already planned, pre-scheduled, I would be offering training there. And my thing is, I remember sitting in PDs, and like you said, it's like that one PD, and then it's like, go ahead, implement, go be great.
Yeah, it's hard.
That doesn't work. And so that's what the purpose of this team is to build relationships with teachers, to build their skill set with the instructional technology that they have available in their classroom.
And so I want to ask, I'm going to ask a funny question, funny way. Nano in person, what happens with a Nano Learning in person?
Nano Learning in person. That's that Christmas presents I'm bringing right in the first 5 minutes of any PD. I'm showing you're laughing, and I'm telling you, it is like a magic
trick. I know.
It's
great.
literally
I love your analogy, your Christmas analogy. Yeah.
It's literally coming in, and instead of, hey, I'm here to do all these things, I pretend to be a magician. I like to call myself Boxlight Brittany. I come in and I'm like, I do something on the interactive flat panel, and something they never knew that they could do, and they're like, how did you do that? And it could be just as simple as pinning the keyboard to the bottom of the screen where they don't have to bend down to type. And they're like, and then it's like the hook for them, and it's like, all right, you learned this one little skill, I'm ready to show you more.
Wow. It's so easy to make simple changes that have so much impact. I'm just laughing here because I'm thinking of all the things when that happens to me. And by the way, I absolutely love your enthusiasm. Okay, you're just sparkling over there. I got to tell you, it's just terrific. Okay, Nano Learning. Let me go back to Evan now, the non-sparkler, if I may. Okay, you can't sparkle as much as Brittany does, Ev. Okay,
no offense.
Evan. No offense to you at all. Okay, she's a sparkler. All right. All this is good. But I'm going to ask this in two ways. How are you measuring? How are you assessing that this is working? And there's two ways to do that. And one is formally. with real assessment, feedback, and all that. The other one is more anecdotal. Okay, which I kind of like that one, where people say, this was terrific, all right? And you get that feeling. But, Evan, as you go through your job, how do you assess that the Nano Learning, which, again, I think is pretty cool, okay, is working? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think that's a great question, because that is actually one of the big challenges when you are dealing with Nano Learning, because these are meant to be such short, sweet, bite-sized chunks. You don't always have that follow-up opportunity or the ability to add in more, like something like a formal assessment. So when we are doing our online programs, we have a variety of longer courses, and that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to take them in one sitting. We always encourage people to break these up and, perform their own Nano Learning in there. But in there, we do have more formal assessments, some knowledge checks broken in. The key here is to introduce them often and scattered throughout the education. You don't want to have just one long assessment at the end, because that is really, people are going to skip that. If they even make it to it, they're not going to bother.
Yeah, exactly.
So, a question
and they're not
reflecting
like they're not reflecting on what happened at the beginning. Okay, when you do that at the very end, you lose the beginning, so to speak. It's why people.
Absolutely.
That's the same reason why people always remember high school more so than they remember elementary school, because that's the last thing you do. Okay, and that's the way you remember your education. Okay, about how you were in high school. All right, but a lot of that happened 12 years earlier. Okay, you just don't. It's not top notch. The same thing with assessment. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to make that point a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we're doing more of an in-person PD session, we always try to have time for the people to actually work on it. We can give them a short challenge. You saw how I did something. Now it's your turn. Go up to the panel. Try this out. See what you can build in the whiteboarding app. Use these tools we just did. How would you measure a shape? How do you change the color? All these things that are really very informal assessment, but it's just observation and, providing that little bit of extra feedback or assistance when they need it. But the key there, all teachers know this. You got to get the people up. You got to get them active. You got to get them actually engaged in the material instead of just being talked at, which unfortunately is too often how it seems to go.
Yeah, It really is. It really is. And talk to me. I mentioned this at the beginning, okay? And Evan, I'll stick with you on this one. Why not? Okay. Ev, we're talking about professional development here, professional learning. All right, but people, when we lead by example, if this works, and I believe it probably does. Okay, I can't believe it doesn't. All right, then teachers might want to apply that to the work they're doing with their students. Okay, and talk about how are you working? I'm going to ask Brittany the same question. Are the teachers taking what they're learning as Nano Learning and saying, "Wait a minute, this will work with my kids too"? What are you hearing on that?
I believe that they are. These are very widely applicable concepts. I think many teachers have already adapted, especially post-COVID, because we've already had to do the hybrid learning. We've already had to be sort of video teachers for a while. And so, the options there for Nano Learning in the classroom, using the readily available resources that are all out there, there's really great stuff on YouTube, Khan Academy. They're all employing this too. Just to have that little short hook and then a few snippets of information, and then you're on to trying a short activity. It could be, creating your own little presentation or building a slideshow, or, if the students are a little more advanced, recording their own content in something like Flipgrid or one of those options. So there's really a ton that teachers can do with this. It's really how you plan out your lessons, right? It's not necessarily using the technology to accomplish this, but it's, chunking the activities and making sure that students are being, asked to actually engage with the content frequently, but for a brief period of time. And then you reconvene and the teacher, checks over what people are working on and, maybe goes in slightly different directions depending on where people are going. That's one of the other advantages of Nano Learning is that because everything is so short and so fast-paced, you can adapt on the fly, and you can offer different things in place of, your standard long lesson plan.
That's interesting.
You can swap it out a bit.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. Britt, what are you finding? Did the teachers see the advantage of a nano type of pedagogy into their own classrooms? What are you finding, Britt?
Absolutely. I would say absolutely, because I believe teachers are understanding that their students are TikTok, social media, so their attention spans are short as well. So they're taking what they're learning from us and then implementing that with their students. And this could be seen as, I believe Evan just said, like video recording. One of the features that we do as a DLS team here in Atlanta is showcase the LMS's new features. And this could be video quizzes. And I often use videos and send those to teachers and embed quiz questions in them so that they learn how to do the specific feature that I'm teaching, and then they go back and do the same, implement the same video quiz for their own students. So this is a trickle-down effect. So they are taking what they're learning and then implementing it in the classroom.
It's really cool. I got to tell you, it's really a different way. And, I say this a lot. I know a lot of I don't mean to come down on education professors, but a lot of education professors are still lecturing, okay? But we don't want that to happen, okay, inside a classroom, okay, in K-12. We have, instead of the old, we don't have the sage on the stage, we have the guide on the side, okay? And I always say that future teachers will learn by example. The education professors, if I may, have to teach them the way they're going to teach, okay, in schools, and they learn by example. And it's the same thing here, okay? When EOS goes in and works so well, and it does work so well, all right, the teachers begin to understand that, wait, I can do the same thing with my kids, all right? And I know there's a difference between, quote, andragogy and andragogy, I can't remember the word, and pedagogy. Andragogy and pedagogy, adult education and child education. But the difference is there, but still, we're in the age we live in, okay? And when you go in and you do this right and you can see how it works, you can sense inside yourself how well it's working, you carry that in, okay, to your classroom. It's just really, really an interesting thing. And it's a thing. Evan, how new is Nano Learning? I mean, I'd never heard the phrase before this week. How new is it?
It is pretty new. You're right. It's definitely something that is coming more to the forefront. I think you're probably going to hear this term again. You know how that works anyway. Now that you've done a podcast on it, you're going to see this term in 3 days, and you're going to. But
exactly. Oh, I know that. Yes, I'm an expert
something
in that.
that has really come up in the last couple of years. If you do a quick Google search or, go on to see if there's any research on this topic, it's all mostly in the last 2 to 3 years. There is a sort of parallel concept called micro-learning. I think people have just decided to make things even smaller and go with nano learning. It's sort of the term of the day. But this is it's a trend that's followed the gradual shrinking of attention spans over time.
Yeah,
right?
It
just gets more and more relevant. So I think you're definitely going to notice this coming up in the future. But a lot of this is sort of just changing a small approach to how teachers are already doing things for the most part. The teachers are not trying to be that sage on the stage anymore. I think that, is especially at the elementary, the K-12 level, it's really just not the way we approach things anymore. And maybe the colleges are a little further behind, but they're working on it. It was definitely an initiative over at ASU. So they got to work on it.
They got to work on it in the education schools. Yeah, it's that simple, and it just works. And for you guys to recognize that it works in PD is really important. Okay, because again, the world is changing, and we got to adapt to the world we're in. Okay, the old methods may not be working so well anymore. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Evan. This was wonderful. I'm so glad we got this together. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you for having us.
Don't you kidding? You're always welcome here.
It was a lot of fun.
Okay. Okay, it was fun. It was fun, and I really, really appreciate it. So both of you, have a good holiday, okay? It's a week away. Get your Christmas shopping done. Brittany, is your Christmas shopping done? Is Christmas shopping done, Brittany?
It's done, and I'm lighting up the whole neighborhood with Christmas lights right now. So
there you go.
We are good.
Good enough.
Oh, good for you. I got
Evan?
one present left to buy, but I know exactly where to get it. So
okay, good.
All that's
there
left.
you go. There you go. Then
yep.
you're on your way.
In the snow too. Hopefully you don't have anywhere to go.
I'm snuggling inside today. We got the fire going in the wood stove. All is well here in Maine. Okay, thanks, guys. Have a great weekend and a happy holiday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Right, thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Good people. That's Brittany Peterson and Evan Brus from Boxlight, okay, which is boxlight.com. But this is their EOS Education PD division. EOS Education, again, I have it linked over here. All right, we're going to archive the show at ace-ed.org. Have a good weekend. You too. Get your Christmas shopping done, okay? And then we'll see you on Monday. I'm Larry Jacobs. Have a good weekend.